Nothing is going to get back to normal. Nothing is going to get back to normal if the deep state has anything to say about it. Okay? If you think that this thing of social distancing and fear and all this sort of stuff, if you think that this is going to end just one day, you're wrong. You are wrong. The deep state is enjoying this right now. They are enjoying this right now. They have got us in a complete state of submission. And I've got proof that this is that they don't want that. Not only do they not want things to get back to normal, but that it's not going to get back to normal. I mean, look at September the 11th. Nothing came back to normal after that. Look at how militarized the airports are now. I mean, look how militarized the borders are now. Look how militarized everything is. Half the world is probably on some government list right now. It's going to be the same thing here. Nothing is going to get back to normal. This is it. I mean, yeah, they may open a few businesses. They may, but what I'm saying is that the government is going to now get more militarized, more powerful, more intrusive in an effort to keep us safe. And you guys are allowing this to happen by being so bloody submissive. You know, I was watching the New York governor, Andrew Cuomo, on television today. And he's there and he said something, he's a horrible person, but he said something that, it makes sense. He said, I can't arrest the whole of New York State. And he's right. If even New York State were to stand up and say, you know something, I'm very skeptical with my government. I mean, this coronavirus has been around since January of 2019. And it's just now we're beginning to just lock everybody down, we're using this as a way to take more freedoms and do all this stuff and put fear in the people so that we can control them better, I think, honestly, I'm going to tell you something. In October, and I'm talking personally, my girlfriend, who you all know, Katie, everybody knows her, she, I think, had coronavirus in October, And I just say this because if she had the same symptoms now that she did in October, who wants to bet that they would say that was coronavirus? Of course that they would say that was coronavirus. She couldn't breathe properly. She couldn't stand up when she tried to cook. She couldn't do it. I mean, and it went on for a month and a half, and it was just pure hell. And she suffered, she said she felt like she had pneumonia. She's had pneumonia before, so she knew what that felt like. Eventually, she tried all the medicines in the cabinet. It wouldn't work. And then eventually it just tapered up. I think she had coronavirus. She survived, obviously. But I came in contact with it. And this was in October of 2019. It's now, April? I'm as healthy as a horse. I mean, I'm not saying that this thing isn't real. I'm not saying that. I think coronavirus is real. I think China is responsible for this. They hid the evidence. They tried to censor all the doctors who said that there was something going on here. They censored them. They say, no, everything is perfect in China. Shut up. Don't say anything. Don't criticize the red dragon we know is China. They just censored everything. And then, of course, the Western governments of the world, like Justin the Tacky and Magdalene Trudeau and Emmanuel Macron, the European Union, all these people, with the exception of Donald Trump, who said, it's racist to close down the borders. How dare you say, even I said it early, I said, close the borders. We don't have to do all this locking down and everything. This isn't some third world, North Korean style dictator locking up country, locking up this. We don't, when was the last time we ever did something? Even in the worst depths of World War II, we didn't do things like that. Lock up things like, just close the blasted border to China. Don't let a single Chinese person in here or any country that's suffering from this, and you'll have no problem. People were saying how crazy I was for saying things. Remember that video I made? Does anybody not remember that video I made up in January? I said, close the border to China. And people said that would just destroy the economy. I had people saying that to me. Look at us now. And those same people are now the people trying to criticize and crunch up their face whenever you criticize coronavirus and you need to stay indoors. You need to stay indoors with your social distancing and you stop criticizing coronavirus. The only thing that'll help us is a vaccine. Those same people, when if we'd have just closed the damn border, I think all those people who criticize closing the border to China and all those Chinese government officials who censored the doctors in China who were trying to warn us about coronavirus, all those people should be arrested. They should all be arrested. I think Justin Trudeau should be arrested for conspiracy. He is responsible for bringing coronavirus to Canada, just like the European Union and the CDC and the World Health Organization. All of those people should be arrested for bringing coronavirus to the world. I think it was deliberate. I actually think it was deliberate, I think it was very deliberate. These people wanted us to, not for a number of reasons. First of all, we have to all be hunkered down in our homes. By the way, don't stay in your home. Don't isolate. I've told people, you need to be outside. That helps your immune system. And by the way, if you're a government snitch, you need to be shot, I think. And if anybody tries to harass you for being outside or anything like that, I try my best not to promote violence, but you know what? If anybody were to ever dare to criticize me for being outside, I'll kill you. I'll break your legs. I will kill you. I will actually kill you. I will kill you. I don't care if you're 101 years old. I will kill you. Because there comes a point where you have to take a stand. Okay? And you don't want to fuck with me on this one because I'm pretty pissed off right now. And I'm surprised I haven't hurt anybody yet. But I will actually if I find out that yes, you're a government snitch or you're harassing people or taking photographs of people who are outside trying to live. I mean, you want to stay apart from people, that's one thing. But, criticizing people for being outside, going fishing, walking in the park, all that stuff, being outside, nature, it helps your immune system. If you're one of those dumbasses who are taking pictures of people who are fishing outside and criticizing them and doxing them for not isolating and stuff, I think people need to hunt those kind of people like that down and literally kill them. I'm serious. I'm that mad right now. And I know people like, what's his name? Jonathan D. Yelelvi or whatever his name is, that Zionist out there who's always taking my videos and posting them on places like Canada Docs and Never Again. He's probably going to take this and say, Arana Nation wants to kill people who want to, go ahead, dude. Go ahead and take it. Most people know that I'm a well-meaning patriot, nationalistic person who believes in freedom and believes in people power, and people like you are losing, okay? But things aren't going to change. Things aren't going to change, This is the new... There is a good chunk of our freedom is going to be forever gone because of coronavirus. I don't care what the Queen has to say. She can make all the messages she wants about sooner or later things will go back to normal. Trump, all these people, things will one day go. It's not going to go back to normal, and they don't want it to go back to normal. There was an article on Facebook, CTV News, criticizing Trump for being too hasty and wanting to return back to normal. I'm serious. I mean, they don't want things to get back to normal. So I predict that it's going to start off, they're going to get a vaccine, an immune system killing vaccine, which I don't know what they're going to put in that vaccine, whether it's going to be something to help, stem the population boom, something that can sterilize people. They used to do that back in the day. They used to hide sterilization toxins in the polio vaccine. Eugenics was a big thing back then. I mean, so don't tell me that these things haven't gone away. I mean, when you have people like the Queen's husband talking about how, there's too many people in the world and he wishes he was a blood-sucking virus, kill half the this is his dream come true, probably. This is his dream. He said things that the Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, once said, that if he were to die, he'd want to come back as a blood-sucking or killing virus, which could kill half the population for climate change and things like that. So this is his dream come true. So it's going to probably be, I predict it'll be forced vaccinations. You won't be able to go to school. You won't be able to work. When you're applying for a job, they will ask you, have you taken the coronavirus vaccine? Bill Gates' coronavirus vaccine. Have you taken it? If you say no, you can't work nowhere. You can't even pick up dog doo-doo from the park if you haven't taken the vaccine. That's number one. That's the first thing that I believe is going to happen. The second thing that I believe will happen is, forced temperature checks. I don't know. Maybe certain communities may even force us to wear masks everywhere, because you never know when coronavirus will come again. Even though this thing has been around since January of 2019. January of 2019, we've been living with coronavirus. It was probably even worse back then. Many people survived, and some people even died of it. Yes, but you know what? People survived too. Yes, most of them survived. Most people who get coronavirus end up surviving. Most people who get coronavirus don't even go to the hospital. It's only recently now where everybody who has coronavirus gets documented and exposed by the media. We've been going through this since forever, probably even before January. It's been going on, and coronavirus isn't recent. That's number one. Number two, there's a difference between coronavirus and COVID-19. I'm sure that most of the people who the media says has coronavirus don't have COVID-19. That's number two. Number three, you're far more likely to die in a car accident. Far more likely to die in a car accident on the 401 or the QEW than you are to get coronavirus. You're far more likely right now, at this moment, while you're sitting in your house, to die from swallowing a fish bone or a steak bone, choking on that, or some piece of meat that you're eating, gobbling up too fast, than you are to die of coronavirus. And finally, many of you are Christians, okay? Many of you say you're Christians. Did you know that God actually said those who fear don't have faith in thee? Which means if you're afraid, if you panic, that means you don't have faith in God. I mean, it's in the Bible. Jesus used to reprimand his disciples for being afraid. Of ye of little faith? That's Jesus. That's the Bible. In fact, the Bible says that those who fear, those who are whoremongers, they're the same. The people who fear the same as whoremongers, and they're both going to hell because they don't believe in me. So that means that if you are sitting up there afraid, you're allowing the media and the presidents and the prime ministers and these same people who brought coronavirus here in the first place, now you're allowing them to bring fear upon you. You don't believe that the old-fashioned saying that if God is with you, nothing can stand against you, which means you have turned your back on the Lord Jesus Christ and his Father, and you're going to hell. That's what that means. Yeah, that's what it means. That's not me saying that. That's the Bible saying that. All right? So here's what I'm going to do. July is a month where most Western countries celebrate their freedom. July 1st is Canada Day. July 4th, Independence Day in the United States. July 14th is Bastille Day in France. If this virus has not fixed itself by July, and many people say this could go on till June, but if this thing continues in July, and when I say continue, I mean we don't have the exact same freedoms that we had before all of this, meaning we can go anywhere we want, we can be as close to anyone we want, we can do anything we want. If this does not get back fully to normal by July, I'm going to host a big protest. Very big, very tough protest. And I know many people who are already in on this. We will involve ourselves in civil disobedience. We will break as many coronavirus rules as we possibly can. If they try to arrest me, I will resist. I will fight back, and I will die if I have to. It will be peaceful at first, but over the month of July, I will ramp it up. July just might be, we might just have a new thing to celebrate in July. Not just Canada Day, not just Independence Day, not just Bastille Day, but we may need to fight to renew the freedoms that we once held dear. And Arana Nation, the commander-in-chief of Arana Nation, yours truly, will lead that struggle. I will do it. No question about it, patriots, I will do it. This is my plan. This is my plan, and I will keep you informed. I will do protests where people are hugging each other and all this sort of stuff. We will gather in large groups in front of City Hall. The cops can try to break us up. We will resist peacefully at first, but if they continue to push at us, we get more and more and more violent. I'm telling you, we have to make a stand here, because if we don't, then we are going to lose another chunk of our freedom. Because this is what they want. I can guarantee you, the more submissive we get, and the more we continue to allow them and push us, is the more bold these people are going to get. Sooner or later, in Canada and in the United States, they will completely shut everything down, where it'll be just like how China was. You can't even leave. You can't even go in your backyard. Americans can't go into their backyard. If you go, and Canadians won't be able to go in their backyard. If you go in your backyard, police will shoot you. In India, they're already doing that. Well, India is a backwards country anyway. But they'll do that here. If you go out in your own backyard, RCMP, and they're threatening to do this, Department of Homeland Security, they'll grab you, they'll beat you, they'll shoot you, they'll kill your kids, they'll take your kids away from you, they'll do all sorts of stuff. I'm telling you, things are not going to get back to normal. There's going to be forced vaccinations. The schools are going to be militarized. Schools are going to be just like going into the airport. Our children will be taking temperature. The bags and clothes will have to go through screens. They'll be patted down to make sure that they'll be felt up. Strange men will be holding their necks to see if they have a temperature. All sorts of stuff are going to happen. I can't tell you for sure what's going to happen, but I can tell you for sure that our way of life that we knew before coronavirus is going to be finished. Something is going to change, and it will change forever, because the government will want to try to keep us safe. Even though I've always said, when the government wants to try and keep us safe, run for the bushes. And don't let anyone tell you that, oh, well, coronavirus has stopped. Maybe that's because the social distancing and the isolation and the forced closures are working. That's not true. That's a load of BS. Coronavirus has been around since January and probably even more. And nobody heard a damn thing about it until the government and the media decided to pour fear into our hearts. We don't know whether or not many of the people who even were reported to have it even did have COVID-19. And there's a difference between that and coronavirus. In fact, there is no coronavirus. There are coronaviruses. That's like saying, I died of a germ. I died of a germ. You know, there is no germ. There are germs. There are bacteria. Just like there is no corona, there are coronaviruses. It's a COVID-19 is a form of coronavirus. We don't know if these people died of COVID-19 or of a coronavirus. We don't know, and there's no way for us to know. So don't let the government and the media give you misinformation. And I can't stress enough, if anybody tries to stop you, patriots, if anybody, I am telling people they need to get their gun licenses, they need to restock, because these coronavirus fearmongers are getting more crazy. Okay? You know, I remember one time I was at Walmart just today. And, you know, I told the person we were waiting in some line, and it was raining and everything. And then we went into the line, and I said, you know, you guys are going to kill us waiting out there. And the old woman, her face turned into an alien, like, did you criticize our efforts to fight coronavirus? It's like these old women, and it's mostly women, okay? I'm just saying, you know, women are more susceptible to fear. It's like, they're and it's older women, it's like, how dare you? I remember I was at the bank, and I said to the bank teller, you know, you've got all this tape here, you want social distancing, but, you know, your efforts are futile because, you know, the person who's next, I'm next to these two people, and I don't know whether they're sick or not. I'm just, you know, I'm trying to critique the system, and that's what you're supposed to do. Critique society. Otherwise, society will get too big. And she said something like, well, we're going to protect people from coronavirus. If you don't like it, you know, tell that to the people who die. I'm thinking to her, if you weren't a woman, I'd knock you out. You know? I'm not playing around anymore. I'm not playing. I don't play games. You know, nobody, thankfully, has, for their sake, has had the guts to try and criticize me. And I've gone out with my girlfriend, with friends, everything. Not even the police are going to try and stop me. Because I'll fight back. But I'll play their little game. By July, if things haven't straightened up and flied right by July, if I don't get my freedom back by July, things are going to start ramping up. We're going to protest peacefully at first, civil disobedience, but it's not going to be Martin Luther King, let's all hold hands and get abused by government and the system. It'll be like Malcolm X. We're going to start fighting back. This is the Arana Nation.